Hey everybody, Susan here with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. So I have a project to share with you today. These are ATC cards, that means artist trading cards. And I actually created these for a swap I was doing with my Joy of Sets group that I participate in on Facebook. So I'm going to recreate the cards I made for that swap for you today. I am using the Snowfront stamp set, so we're going to do some scenic scenes here. I'm using crumb cake paper, which I have embossed with the greenery embossing folder, so that's done. Okay, I've pre-cut with my Stitched So Sweetly from Shimmering White paper this fun scalloped die, so that's done. Now you're probably saying, why are these so small? ATC cards, artist trading cards, are 2.5 by 3.5, and the idea is that you create them. They could just be for like sharing a technique or whatnot, or they could be so that you can use them as embellishments later on projects as you need them. So my setup is kind of going to be like this. So I've embossed the crumb cake. I'm going to stamp on the shimmer, and then we're going to build them up with some dimensionals. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the idea here today was to make 3 cards that had to do with springtime. And you'll see that I'm going to create 3 almost identical scenes, but I'm changing the seasons. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off again, just so I can stamp and keep my bases clean. So I am starting with crumb cake ink and the tree stamp, and I'm just going to line these up on my paper here, and you'll see why in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to stamp my trees on my cards. So I'm shooting for about the middle, and this is why having them kind of side by side. They'll be similar. They won't be exactly the same because they're hand stamped, but they'll be similar in layout. Okay, so there's my trees. That's all I'm going to do with the trees on the crumb cake. So now I'm going to create different scenes. So first I'm going to create a winter scene. So I'm using Balmy Blue. Get it open. Okay, Balmy Blue. So first I'm going to add this fun snowman. And I'm just going to kind of put him right down here between the trees. Just like that. Now I'm going to take, this is like the speckled stamp. It's right here in the stamp set. It's just kind of a background texture stamp. I'm going to take that and I'm going to lightly stamp these speckles on my card, put some on the bottom, kind of fill in the scenery a little bit. And the idea here is that it's a snow scene, so you know it's kind of snowing in the scene, and so that's nice and simple, right? That's all I'm going to do with that. Now I'm going to wipe off my little stamp here because I'm going to switch colors on the next one, so I'm just using my chamois to clean that ink off. Okay, so for the next one I'm going to go for spring. For this one I'm going to use the deer stamp, and I'm going to use my soft suede because I want them a little bit darker than my trees. And I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to put them right kind of between the trees, so kind of like a focal point. So there are my deer. Now this one, because I'm thinking spring, okay, I want to add some yellow to the sky. And I want to add some green to the trees and the ground. So first I'm going to do my yellow. Now I'm actually going to do yellow on both of these next 2 cards because after spring would be summer, so that'll fit summertime. So I'm just going to stamp them as I go. So you can repeat stamp as many times as you want, depending on how full you want the color to be. Okay, so that was my So Saffron. That's my yellow in my sky. Now I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz, and because I'm going to a darker color, I'm not going to worry so much about cleaning it off. So my Pear Pizzazz is going to go on my trees. Just kind of those first green buds of spring. Okay? And then I'm going to use, see, this is Old Olive, so I've got Pear Pizzazz and Old Olive. I'm going to put some green of the Old Olive down here to kind of fill in for the grass, right? Those meadows starting to come back up again in the springtime. Okay, so there are my trees. I think I'm going to add a little more dimension to the tree as well. So kind of two-tone on the tree. Okay, so winter, spring, summertime, right? All right, let me wipe off this for a second. So now it's summertime, right? So I love Japanese maple trees. I love the red, red, red of their colors. So I'm going to make my trees in this scene the red. So I'm using cherry cobbler. And I'm going to make these my Japanese maples. So lots of red in my trees, right? Nice and full. You could do some stamping off if you want some two-tone. Now I am going to wipe that off again because I think I want to put some more green in my grass. So I'm going to go back to my greens. I'm just going to hold that with my finger. And you can see I'm just repeat stamping because I just want to fill in, but I don't want to overdo it. So there we go. 3 quick, easy, scenic cards that can be used on projects later on. Okay, so there we have it. So I've got 3 cards, I've got 3 bases. I'm going to put each of these up on dimensionals just to kind of add a little bit of lift to the cards. So bear with me while I do this. And then what I'm going to do is add a sentiment. And I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So these are kind of fun. So if you have stamp sets you kind of want to play with, but you don't have the idea for a full card, this would be one idea for you, is to work in miniature, right? Create some trading card size creations so that you're highlighting the stamp set, showcasing the stamp set, I should say. And then when you're ready to make a card out of it, you just use coordinating colors. Use some embellishments. You could add ribbon or gems or whatever you'd want. And some sentiments. And you could build a card from your trading cards. Okay? Alright, so as I was looking at these, I decided I wanted to add a little bit of sentiment. So I've gone and grabbed my itty bitty Greetings stamp set. Now, a lot of people say they're so small, they're hard to use, but these are exactly the size of cards that these would be wonderful on. So I've picked out my Scent with Love, and I'm going to use the cherry cobbler, I think, for all of my sentiments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp my sentiment, okay, and then I've gone and grabbed my classic label punch, and I'm just going to punch it out like that, and I'm going to put that up on mini dimensionals, which work perfectly behind that size punch, or you could just cut your dimensionals in half, whichever you want to do. And then it's like it was made to be. I can put this right across the bottom of my little trading card there. And I'm ready to go. And who can't do a Scent with Love card for just about any occasion, right? So you obviously could add the sentiments later. This is nice and easy, but I just wanted to show you. Now I've done another one, and look, I've only done part of that punch, so I can have it come in on one side as a little tag. So there you go, guys. There's my quick and simple show and tell for today. So just because it's a snowfront scene, right, you can do lots of scenic scenes with this stamp set. So don't think just because it says snowfront it's a winter set only. It certainly is not a winter set only. You can create all kinds of scenes with it. So I hope you enjoyed. Remember, you can leave me comments. Let me know what you think of the projects. I love to know that you're paying attention and you're following me right along. And I'll have another one for you next week. So until then, do some fun stamping. Bye-bye.